everybody. Today I woke up from a very strange dream and it inspired me to want to delve into not exactly what the dream was, but the concept of the dream. And so it's kind of funny because it was related to a post that I made yesterday on Instagram, and I'm just going to start this video off, and it's kind of a weird intro, but I'm going to start it off with reading what I posted yesterday on my Instagram. And if you don't follow me and you want to follow me, my Instagram name is just my name, so Silken, S-I-L-K-E-N, with 2 underscores, or if you can't remember this, then I'll link it down below. But it says, I for many years have had a deep yearning to escape, to run from everything I've ever known, to go into nature, to get reconnected to my roots, to simplify, detoxify from the filth and heaviness within my mind and body, to completely leave the society/culture I was raised in because of a huge inner conflict and disconnection with what it produces, the ignorance and violence it breeds, how it strips people of their spiritual and intuitive senses, aiding them in the belief that physical and material sense pleasure is the true goal. While this may be accurate in this culture and many others, time and time again, I am forced to reflect upon how I can shift this blindness, and then in parentheses it says, within myself and externally. I can see if I want to assist others in getting back to their heart space and their clear connected minds, I must remain amongst it all. I must do everything I can to show love, to teach people that their perception has the ability to be expanded, that there are so many doors to experience beauty and truth from. And although I catch myself getting caught in the fear and negativity as well, I am again able to see beyond it. That when you search for peace and beauty with proper intention, it is actually everywhere, beneath everything that seemed to be so ugly and disturbing before. So my dream correlated with the fact that I was having a conversation with a beautiful, beautiful woman that I know who happens to be, practices Christianity very strongly. And I don't like to make generalizations, but from my observation being raised Mormon, being raised as a Christian, I have observed that there's a very clear pattern, and that with Christianity, it oftentimes leads people more down a fear-based way of gaining love. To gain love is to have to feel guilty for the sins that you have done, and to see that what you do is bad and you need to be good, and it's just very, it seems very black and white a lot of the time. But in the dream, I was talking to her and her husband, and they were, it was more of like a little bit of an argument, but in a really calm manner. But we were talking about how the husband was saying that the proper thing to do is to surround yourself in environments and with people constantly that are on a higher level. And so he was referring to places where it's surrounded by Christians, where you feel safe, that they are trying their best to choose the right. And I corrected him, and similarly to this post, I said, actually, it's about, I don't really like the term, but it applies. It's about being in the world and not of the world. So you can find yourself absolutely anywhere. And if you're grounded in your own truth, if you're grounded in love and peace and calmness, you can be around any single person. And so my argument in the dream to him was that the actual true gift of being a human and being in places where oftentimes people, and many Christians say it's called temptations, being surrounded by that's the ultimate gift. It's because it tests who you are, and if you can remain conscious and mindful during those times, if you can be with people who aren't exactly on the same level as you, who don't have the same spiritual inclination as you, and you can still remain rooted in yourself and you can still love them unconditionally. That's exactly what we need. So my post, all my life, I've struggled to want to be in this culture and society because, like I said, I've seen such negativity, so much fear, and so much brainwashing, and just, I'm sure you guys are my followers, like you understand what I'm saying. You can see people in pain, yet they distract themselves with going shopping, yet they distract themselves with movies and television and buying new things and consumerism and instantaneous sex and money and just things like that. People don't want to sit down and be with themselves. They can't sit in silence in this culture for some odd reason. And so that's always really been hard for me. And being raised in the religion I was, it was very much a culture. And so although it was beautiful in its ways and it taught me and brought me to this moment, there was so many things that as a child I just couldn't believe that we would all nod our heads without thinking about. And so it fueled anger inside of me, and obviously that's not the proper intention, but for a long time and to this day it's been being tested in me again, because for a while I got rid of that anger, but it's coming back because I'm being surrounded by it in a whole new way. But I've wanted to run, and I've wanted to, just like in Siddhartha, renunciate everything of the sort. But as he says, that no matter how much renunciation he tried to achieve, he always came back to the self, always came back to the desiring and the complaining. So what I have found, similarly to my favorite book that I've mentioned so many times, Siddhartha, is that you really have to, I'm not saying in this example to fully immerse yourself, that being to be it, but in order for you to learn to have your own truth and to stay strong and to not feed into desire, it's so vital for you to be around it, because that's where the strength comes, that's where the inner knowing comes, and that's where you can realize that it's not what you want, but through that realization, you want to help people compassionately. You see that they're yearning for love, they're yearning for this sacredness, this godliness, this spiritualness in ways that will never give them what they want. And for you to watch and observe that is a perfect opportunity for you to show love to your neighbors and your brothers and sisters. So surround yourself by that which is uncomfortable so that you can have the compassion and the non-judgment and the understanding to realize what they're going through and to have the desire to assist them through being loving and understanding that, hey, I've been there before in my life, and I've been there many times before, and I shouldn't look down upon these people because they don't know any better. This is all they've ever known their whole life, is that instant gratification. Well, it's some form of gratification, but they don't know that there's eternal gratification. And for instance, devoting yourself to Krishna, or devoting yourself to family, or God in whatever way you see God to be. So I guess that is my main topic for this conversation, is that just because you find discomfort in things that don't bring the absolute truth to you outside of what you're doing doesn't mean that you should run from it and ban it from your life. And I know that's such a strong desire within me. Even as I say this, it still is. It's like I want to take, actually opposite, I don't want to take anything, and I just want to completely leave and not tell anybody where I go. I want to be in solitude, and to do intense fastings and things like that. But at the end of the day, that's not coming from a place of love, and it oftentimes comes from a place of fear, and that's exactly what you're running from, this culture. You're running from the fear and the violence and the hatred and the blindness, yet in an attempt to run from it, you're using the same mode to do that. So if you want to exfoliate and detoxify yourself from what this culture breeds, then you have to be the opposite. You don't want to fall into hypocrisy. And I often have done that. It's like, oh, I see so much hatred, and then I get angry. I'm like, well, then I'm feeding into it, and it's not getting me anywhere, and it's not getting anybody anywhere. So it's important for us to know our truth, to stay grounded in it, and through that to help those around us, not out of pity, but out of complete and just absolute unconditional love. Because through this, people will genuinely feel if you're there to assist them and to help them because you have their higher interest, and it's not because you want to be right and you think their truth is ignorant, because that's not going to reach to people. And although it's easy to say, oh, you're ignorant, oh, this culture is ignorant, that's also coming from a place of dissatisfaction and anger and negativity, and that's not what we want to keep portraying and keep recycling. We're trying to avoid that. So as difficult as it may seem at times, we have to just keep being really forgiving with ourselves, because once we forgive ourselves, we can completely understand why someone else keeps falling into those cycles. I fall into it all the time. The negativity, and the opposite, I fall into the want for more, the consumerism, the identity, trying to, like, look, I fall into it all the time. I'm stuck in myself. But you have to forgive yourself, because that's the human condition. And you can be anywhere, you can be doing anything, but if you have a heart set on love and God and growth and prosperity, it doesn't matter if you happen to like wearing makeup. It doesn't matter if you happen to like a certain type of music or whatever it may be, if you're still addicted to the world. It's about your intentions. So I hope this made sense, and oftentimes it's really hard for me to make videos because, like, I'm never alone anymore, and the times I am alone, I'm just like, oh, I'd rather be painting or something. But today, gladly enough, I felt very inspired to make a video for not only you guys, but myself, because whenever I speak about these things, it also reminds me, because I might turn off this camera and walk away and fall right back into it. I'm not perfect. I struggle so much. I wake up depressed very often, but it's about how many times you keep getting up, how many times you keep reminding yourself of your truth. So I hope you do the same and try to be gentle with yourself and those around you, because everyone is trying their best, and even if it doesn't seem like they are, maybe their soul is trying their best to free themselves. But I love you all, and I appreciate all of your beautiful comments, and when you guys private message me and say how much I'm helping you, you help me saying things like that, so thank you very, very much. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Om Shanti.